Welcome back to the shop. We have a couple of red oak blanks. These blanks have been sitting in the shop for quite some time. I want to do something a little different in today's video. Today we're going to make a bourbon chalice. Bourbon status as a staple in American culture isn't just about the taste. It's a perfect storm of history, strict legal standards, and a massive modern-day renaissance, driven by collectors and enthusiasts. Let's get this first blank set up on the lathe and start rounding over the base of the chalice. Let's start turning and have a little fun. Red oak is porous, strong, and beautiful, while white oak is the industry standard for barrels because of its liquid-tight seal. Red oak offers a stunning grain that makes for a magnificent drinking vessel. As we shape this wood, we're going to dive deep into the world of bourbon, from the muddy banks of the Kentucky River to the modern-day global phenomenon. Bourbon is America's only native spirit, declared so by Congress in 1964. But its roots go back to the late 1700s. Contrary to popular belief, it wasn't invented by one person. It was a craft brought over by Scots, Irish, and German immigrants who found that corn grew exceptionally well in the limestone-rich soil of Kentucky. Why bourbon? The name likely comes from Bourbon County, Kentucky, or perhaps Bourbon Street in New Orleans, where the whiskey was shipped and sold. In the early days, this wasn't the refined spirit we know today. It was clear lightning, Unaged moonshine. The aging process was actually an accident of logistics. Whiskey was shipped in charred barrels to New Orleans. By the time the flatboats arrived months later, the wood had smoothed out the bite and turned the clear liquid into a deep amber. Fast forward to today, and we are in a bourbon renaissance. In the early 2000s, bourbon was seen as your grandfather's drink. Now it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, with bottle hunters chasing limited releases like Pappy Van Winkle or Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. The magic happens in the barrel. By law, bourbon must be aged in new, charred oak containers. This is where the flavor comes from. The charring of the wood caramelizes the natural sugars, creating those notes of vanilla, caramel, and toasted marshmallow. In our shop today, we're going to mimic that. Once this chalice is turned, we aren't just going to oil it. We're going to torch the inside to recreate that charred smoky effect used by the big distilleries. Stick around till the end to see the charring process. To be legally labeled as bourbon whiskey in the United States, the spirit must meet a strict set of standards established by the Federal Standards of Identity for Distilled Spirits. If it doesn't meet every single one of these criteria, it's just whiskey. 1. The grain bill. The mixture of grains used must consist of at least 51% corn. The remaining 49% is usually a blend of malted barley and either rye or wheat. The high corn content is what gives bourbon its signature sweetness. 2. Production standards. It must be produced in the United States. While 95% of the world's bourbon comes from Kentucky, it can legally be made in any U.S. state. 3. Distillation proof. It must be distilled to no more than 160 proof, 80% alcohol by volume. This ensures that the flavor characteristics of the grain are not stripped away by over-distillation. 4. Entry proof. When the liquid goes into the barrel for aging, it cannot be higher than 125 proof, 62.5% ABV. 5. The aging process. It must be aged in new, charred oak containers. You cannot reuse barrels if you want to call the next batch bourbon. Absolutely no additives are allowed except for water to manage the proof. You cannot add coloring, like caramel coloring or flavorings. 6. Bottling requirements. The final product must be bottled at a minimum of 80 proof, 40% ABV. Straight bourbon. To be called straight bourbon, it must be aged for at least 2 years. If it is aged for less than 4 years, the bottle must include an age statement. The distinction between red oak and white oak is the difference between a leaky sieve and a watertight vessel. While both are oak, their cellular anatomy makes them behave in completely opposite ways when holding liquid. The primary reason red oak cannot be used for barrels is a microscopic structural difference. White oak contains tyloses, balloon-like outgrowths that clog the vascular tissue of the wood as it matures. These structures act like natural plugs, making the wood virtually impermeable to liquid. Red oak lacks these tyloses. Its pores remain open and act like tiny drinking straws. If you were to make a barrel out of red oak, the bourbon would literally weep through the grain and pour out the sides of the barrel within days. The choice of white oak wasn't a single eureka moment, but rather an evolution of necessity and regulation. The Cooper's tradition, 1700s, 1800s. Early American settlers used whatever wood was available, but they quickly learned that red oak leaked. White oak was already the gold standard for tight cooperage, barrels meant for liquids. A craft brought over from Europe, where European white oak was used for wine and cognac. The rise of the bourbon definition, late 1800s. In the 19th century, bourbon was a loose term. Rectifiers often took cheap neutral spirits, added tobacco spit or iodine for color, and sold it as whiskey to protect the integrity of the spirit. The Bottled-in Bond Act of 1897 began tightening the rules on how whiskey was aged and stored. The Federal Standards, 1938 and 1964. The final call was cemented by two major events, post-prohibition, 1935 to 1938, as the industry restarted. The Federal Alcohol Administration Act began codifying definitions. Coopers and distillers pushed for new charred oak to jumpstart the economy and ensure quality. The 1964 Congressional Resolution. This is the most famous final call. The U.S. Congress recognized bourbon as a distinctive product of the United States. The accompanying regulations, 27 CFR 5.22, mandated the use of new charred oak containers. While the law technically says oak, the physics of the wood ensures that oak effectively means white oak. No distillery is going to waste 53 gallons of rare breed quality spirit on a barrel that won't hold water. Flavor chemistry. Why white oak wins. Beyond holding liquid, white oak is chemically superior for aging. Vanillin. White oak is rich in vanillin, which provides the vanilla notes you find in wild turkey. When charred, the sugars in white oak caramelize, providing the red layer that gives bourbon its color and sweetness. As we start to wrap up this project, I wanted to say thank you for watching. Please leave a comment on what you think of the Chalice. If you like this content, please consider subscribing for future videos. Part of drinking bourbon is the experience. Drinking from a charred oak vessel adds to that experience by giving the bourbon even more of a smoky flavor. Whether you are drinking from a wood mug, cup, or chalice, they all require additional care. To keep the inside from drying out, it's best to apply a little bit of food-grade mineral oil to the inside. Pour in and let it soak into the wood for several hours. Then wash out. There you have it, a charred oak chalice. This will make a fun addition to sipping bourbon, whether you enjoy Wild Turkey Rare Breed or Jack Daniel's Single Barrel. This makes the experience so much fun. Thanks for sticking around. Let me know what's your favorite bourbon to sip. I'll see you on the next one.